Alright everybody, this is going to be video 6. We're going to continue installing this thing. Hopefully I can get it together and make it out for some practice today. We shall see. Alright, last video we put center diff, front, rear, skid plates, battery mount, ESC mount. We're going to continue on with our build. On the manual down here, we're going to start putting together our steering links. They're in bag L. Bag L. These videos are long. Normally it doesn't take this long to put together a car, but because I'm doing a video, I'm going slow. Make sure everything's right. And explaining everything as I go. Hold on a second, I got a dog eating the box. Okay, I had to save dogs from choking on cardboard. The big box that all my packaging came in, they were interested in it. Alright, getting all these links out here. Made this one on super plastic. Alright, so just like our camber links, got a little notch on the side here. So they normally like to they like us to put everything facing the same direction. I normally put my notches facing outboard. I kind of know which way to turn it when I do it, when I make my adjustments. Alright, in this bag here we've got some angled rod ends, some straight rod ends. We've got all sorts of washers and spacers, some screws, our rods, and we've got some ball ends. So, yay, more rods. They're a pain in the behind. Let me find my camber wrench here. Where I set it, if I can't find it, I'll just use my adjustable wrench, which I don't see it, so we'll use a camber wrench. We'll use a adjustable wrench, no big deal. Sure, I got something sitting on top of it somewhere. So, you're wanting the notch end facing the angle end, so we're going to start with the straight one here. Look at the threads, figure out which way it needs to go. Tighten the wrench up on there. Hold the other end, support it. And see if we can get it started. Yes. Not as easy as that last set that I did, but it's going on there fairly easy. Take your 3mm, put it almost all the way through there. I'm going to hold it with a wrench and tighten her down. We'll run it all the way down to the end of the threads, just like we do the others. That way we'll be nice and balanced on either side. And so when we make our final adjustments, it will look good and work good. Especially on our steering linkage, because
let's go back outside.
when we're setting our steering adjustments.
Let's go back outside. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
It's easier to center everything up when everything's nice and even.
Come on. Come on. Get the hell out of here.
Millimeter, run it in. Alright, so we got that. The other side.
Hey! What are you doing? Get off my shit. What's wrong with you?
Bring it down now just a little bit. I don't feel like it's trying to start. Body reamer. Couple turns. Just get sliver plastic out of it. Alright, that started right up. Tighten her down. Right to the end of the threads. More to do for this one. I think the only other threaded link we have to do is our servo connection. Alright. Now, put both of our rods put together. Now we're going to put the ball ends on it. Alright, set them opposite ways here, that way I know which way to pop them in. Everybody's favorite sound. Nice little pop. Make sure the other side's facing the same direction, or opposite direction. When we pop the balls in to the opposite side of the car. Alright, so there we go, we got all four of them. And according to the directions, that page is done. Alright, now we're going to start hooking stuff up. So, we've got our screws here, got our spacers, our washers, our goodies. A lot of this stuff sets your Ackerman. So, this car has something pretty unique on it. So what you're looking at here is putting our screws in. It's going to hook up to our Ackerman plate. And on this side, it's going to hook up to our steering plate, our Ackerman steering plate. And there is a special little piece right here. Notice it looks like a washer with a little Pac-Man face on the side of it. So let me show you what this is. Mayako's the only one that uses this, and it helps It is a washer that looks like somebody made a mistake. It's kind of cut on one side. It's got a little Pac-Man notch out of it. Let's see if I can get closer with the can't focus. Not really. That's about as good as we got. Alright. So the purpose in this little doohickey is it's offset. And let me see if I can show you what to do with this on camera. Alright, we're going to move this arm out. So what this does is it allows you to lengthen or shorten your steering rod on the arm a little bit. So changes your swivel point. So they want the little Pac-Man facing out in the directions. So I'm going to do the same thing. Little Pac-Man facing out. That adjusts your arm out on your steering rod just a little bit. That will calm your steering down a little bit. If you have it more inward, it allows you more steering pitch on the pull. Trying to get this other one in here. It's being a booger. Go in there. Okay. Goes in there. Face the right direction. There we go. Cool. Alright, so we're going to take one of our arms here, and we're going to want it with a large part of the ball down on this side. I'm just going to connect to the arm. Camera view isn't that good here. I'll do the other side, that way you can see it. So, angle part goes back towards the back of the car. Large part of the ball is on the bottom. And that's going to go on top of the arm. I'm going to take a screw here. We're going to take our flange washer. Turn it so I can get to it. And this is going to go my caffeine has it fully kicked in, guys. It's early. I was up late last night doing these videos. Make sure they can get up and shared. Alright, Pac-Man out. There it goes. Got it in the arm. Cool. We're going to take our angle piece, big side down, slide it down on there, and then we've got a red washer. Okay, we'll put a red washer on this one, on this side. No, they don't want a washer on this side. It's going to be a nut on top. Alright. We're going to come in with our hex wrench on the bottom. Hold it in place. Their nut driver. Tighten her down. nice and tight. Alright, so that's that side. Now the other side, I'm going to take our screw and our flange washer. We're going to put it together. So I'll go through the thick part of the inner hinge pin, and on the Ackerman it's showing they want it in the back position. Alright, through there, like so. Nope, they want a washer on top of that. So we got different kinds of washers here. We got thick and thin. And what that does is it adjusts how straight your arms are. So your steering rods are kind of as straight as you can get them when the car is driving straight. Right. It comes with different washer thicknesses, so you can put spacers on the inside or spacers on the outside, and you can raise and lower the inside and the outside to get it as close to flush as you want. There it goes. Tighten up this nut on top here. Alright, so we've got our steering rack on one side put together, like so. We're just going to photocopy that to the other side. Again, this is going behind the tire, so this angled piece we want facing towards the back of the car. Flange washer. Up to the bottom of the arm. Pac-Man facing out. Make sure Pac-Man's in there. Take the thick arm, or the thick ball. Put it down on there and put a nut on it. Put the hex driver on the bottom. Nut driver on top. Tighten her down. Give it a good turn our steering for our other side, move our Ackerman plate out. Can't see that. So I turn the steering, move the Ackerman plate out. That way it's easier to get to the holes. Especially when you put the nut driver underneath it and try to drive it up. Alright, another flange washer. Through the thick part, out through the ball side. We got our thick spacer. Thick spacer's going to go on top, match the other side of the car. And then we're going to go into the back hole on the Ackerman plate. I know camera angle isn't that great here. I wish it had a bracket to put over the table so it'll point straight down, but just put that screw and nut on it. Socket. Nice and tight. Alright, so now my steering rack's all together. Nice and smooth. No binding. Take these spare red washers, I'm going to put them away. That's part of the tuning of your steering. You may need it in a future date. Hey, look. Found my wrench. Like I said, it was under something. Alright guys, so that is it here. Of course you can see the picture. Screw goes through. You got your little Pac-Man. Screw goes up. The adjustability. This actually allows it to move forward and backward and inside and out just a little bit. Oh, too many pages. Alright, looks like we've got our front brace and our rear brace. So that's going to be bag M. Let me set the car aside just a little bit. Bag M. Looks like a servo mounts in here also. All sorts of goodies. Alright, so we got an M4 by 25, another M4 by 25, and another M4 by 25 threaded rod. We got a spacer, and we got some ends, 4 ends. Alright, so I bet there is a there's a hex in the end of this. It's like a giant grub screw. It's like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the rod ends. I'm going to get this, run this side all the way in. We'll let the adjustability be on the aluminum side. Alright, we got our first one in there. According to the directions, we're going to put a red washer on there. And we're going to thread this in the end of the rod. Alright, so that's what we got. On our rod, there's a threaded rod tightened into here, red washer, plastic end. Do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to do an eye, Tighten it all the way up in there. Just to hold it. Most of the time when you're tightening these ends on, they are hard to turn by hand and you need some tools to do it. Saves your fingers. Alright, put the red washer on there. Tighten this up at the other end of the rod. Alright, just like so. We've got different kinds of balls here. The types of balls they want on here is they're wanting one with the long necks on either side. Pop that in there. Whoa, too far. Right. Pop. Then on the other side, they're wanting the one with the square end on it. It's a threaded ball. The screw will tighten up into that one. There it goes. The ones that have the sleeve built into it are a little hard to line up on the hole on the shop tool. Alright, so last one, that's going to be for our rear. Take an end here. Thread it in. Show them the directions. I'm supposed to put in one more red washer here. Check the bag, make sure it's not hiding. I don't think so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the red spacers from earlier. Put that on there. It'll fit. Nope, won't fit. That's an M4, not an M3. So, just to make sure I have a spacer in there, got a spare plastic one from earlier. Just want to make sure that we got something in there because they're saying that I should have something in between there. So make sure that there's a washer the same thickness. Alright, put a driver to one side, or hex to one side, hex to the other side, and then we're just going to tighten her down. Run it all the way down. And make sure that our eyes are facing the same direction. This has a black plastic washer in there instead of a red aluminum, but that's fine. How many hundreds of parts they got in these things? They're always going to miss something. Alright, on this one, it's showing that I should have 2 balls. Now again, these camber rod ends and these steering rod ends, a lot of times one hole's bigger on one side. Makes it easier to get the balls in. One side will be closed up a little bit. So if you go to pop it in with your pliers, you're just pretty much going to drive it to the other side with the force that's required. Alright, we've got that together. Now we get to install this stuff in the car. So, let's start with center brace. The center brace is showing our threaded ball. It's going to go underneath the plate. And what length screw they want on that? Go to the next one. Oh, so say start with the back of the front one. So that's an M320. And it is a, see, the barrel goes on the rear one. Pan heads go on the center. So, alright, this other end needs to be twisted back 90 degrees. See here, one that'll go through there without damaging anything. There we go. And there we go. It's 90 degrees. Now these balls to go through there. I'm going to put our screw through. Find a hole in there. So that's what we're doing here. Pull it back out just a little bit because we need to put a nut on the other side. So I'm taking my pliers because motor bracket's kind of in the way a little bit there. If you get anything in there except for a wrench or a pair of pliers, tighten this nut up. I made a mistake. It does go there, but I need to put the other end underneath the steering rack before I tighten this up. It won't swivel over with the bell crank. Right place, wrong order. Okay. Push it back through. And put that back in there. Helps if you line the nut up correctly. one I just put on here. And then we got the one on the, got a bracket on the back. So what I'm going to do is it's threaded inside there. So I'm going to put it inside the back first. Got 2 barrel screws. I'm going to go through a rod here. Some barrel heads, so that's going to be a 2.5. Tighten it up in a bracket. Little ugga on that. Alright, and then on the rear diff, we've got this raised section here. This is going to go underneath the body mount and slide back into place. We're going to take our next long barrel head screw and we're going to go in that rear hole. Put our driver on it and we're going to kind of feel around for the hole in the plastic. There it goes. We're going to screw all the way in until it tightens up on the other side of the aluminum piece. The instructions do say to use thread lock on that, I forgot. I notice in the future these things start loosening up, I'll come back in with some Loctite. I don't see where it's going to be too much of an issue because it is going through plastic. Alright, a little bit of Alright, then we got another long screw here. It's going to be a 2mm. Got a nut for it. So, rear brace going through the center brace hole. Hey, it lined right up with it tightened all the way up the way it was. Sweet. We have the nut started on the other side. Put our nut driver on it. So now we've got our rear brace in place, connected to the bracket here, the bracket that we installed. Then we got our front side of this brace installed. And let's go to the next piece of instructions. And yes, I'm definitely going to put thread locker on this one. So take our screw here. Looks like it's probably about an M3 10 mil. Doesn't say on the page, but pretty sure that's what it is. A little bit of thread locker on there. Get our brace up underneath. Turn that a little bit. Cool, now square. Alright, so this will go down through. And get up all in y'all's ways. I'm trying to line everything up. time to see it do it at the same time. It's kind of difficult to line everything up the way I want. Alright. Get started by hand. I would think it would probably been easier to start with the other one. So y'all are watching this build and y'all are doing one, start with the front one first. Probably make your life a little bit easier. Got here where my needle nose. Right where I'm looking for it. Tighten it all the way up if possible. Pliers were in there, and it popped the ball right off of that. So come back in here, small pair of chain locks. I'm gonna squeeze it back up on there and get in there. Let's see what we got. I'm just trying to snap the eye back up onto the ball. There it goes. Pliers kind of knocked it off when I was holding on to the back side of that threaded ball that was on there. Scratch the top up a little bit. That's okay. It's a race car. All right. So we got that part of the directions taken care of. Let's go next. Hey, we're going to do our servo mount. So here's our servo bracket. Got 1, 2, 3 legs. That's a 3-legged servo mount. Now on the underside of it, you're going to notice that there's notches knocked out of the sides. Each one of these posts has a finger, and it fits right into that notch, and then we put a screw on the bottom side, which is actually going to be the top side when it's put in the car, in the driver. We'll put thread lock on this, a little bit of blue. Stick to the bottom. Start tightening it up. We're going to make sure that little finger goes under the notch. We're going to finish tightening it up. Get it nice and tight. That's one thing you don't want to come loose as you're steering. Make for a bad race day if your steering stops. Servo pops out. Lose control of the car. Car can get damaged. Other people's cars can get damaged. You're lucky you notice it immediately and you just get it off the track without hurting anything. Alright, another more blue for the third and last one of the arms, or the posts. You can tell where they go. It's the 3 flange holes. There's only 3 of them on top, so pretty self-explanatory. Alright. That is our servo mount. And as we see on the directions, we're going to take the 3M4 screws, we're going to put it in place. There's a cutout in the front of the chassis for the servo right here. Turn it where I can work on it and show. So our 3 mounts are going to go over the 3 holes in the bottom of the chassis. We're going to take our first M4 screw, a little bit of thread locker on there. Flip the chassis up. I'm going to put it through the hole. We're going to line up our first post. Get it started. Don't tighten it up yet. We'll make sure everything lines up before we go snugging down on anything, or we're going to be mad later. Alright. A little bit of blue on the next one. Go to the next hole. Run it a little bit. Grab the last screw. The thread locker. Go to the third hole. That's everything lined up except for my hex driver here. Once we get that one lined up, we can go ahead and snug them down. Once we get them all snug, didn't feel any binding, nothing had to be reworked, then we're going to give it a real hard That's old man's Ugga Duggas. Alright. Alright. Now they're wanting to mount the servo. Alright, I'm going to take the servo out of my other car. I'll be right back. Alright guys. Got my Nitro Pro servo out of my other car. So that's a little over a year old. It's been trusty. No problems out of it. I do have a Techno 25 tooth servo horn on there. It's aluminum. So this servo that I am using here is a FKN 500 Pro. Been a really nice, reliable servo. So we're going to install our servo. See if I can do this where y'all can see it. Let's carve this a little bit somehow. See if that'll hold it. Okay. So wire comes out one side of the servo. That's going to go towards the center of the car. We're going to feed the wire in between the legs of the mount. Work our wire back around, face back towards the center of the car. We're going to kind of pull it in as we go in. It's a little notch there so the wiring goes in fairly easy. There we go. Sits right in place. Alright, now you're going to use whatever mounting hardware you need for your servo. I'll put a little bit of thread locker on my screws. Some people like using different kinds of screws and mounts for theirs. I just use the flange screws M3s because where it tightens up on the eyes of the servo, it kind of self-centers. Self-centers and it makes it rigid all at one time. So it looks kind of visually appealing like that too, because everything's nice and flush. I like the look of these versus a button head screw. And it's all put together. Screw number 4. And tighten it up. Screw a little on each one, not too much. We don't want to split the sides of the servo off. So when you're said and done, that's the way it should look. The servo head should go inboard. The outside of the arm should go outboard because it's going to line up with this steering ball right here. Everything out of the way. Make sure I've got my 2mm back over here. Alright. Next step is you put the servo horn and the steering link on there. Alright. Bag in. Where's bag in? Bag in is right here. Here is bag in. Bagging. That's what we're going to try to do with this car. We're going to try to bag in some first places if possible. Depends on who's there. Alright, here's our battery top plate. Motor mount, servo mount stuff. We got a 15 tooth gear in there, which we're not going to use. We're going to use a 16 when we build. Inside this bag here, see the steering hardware. Got the washer. So our screws and stuff, if you wanted to use the Mayako stuff to tighten all this stuff down, your servo, it's all in this bag too, and bag in. Alright, so I've got a small ball there and 2 ends. Let me get the threaded rod that goes in between there. Alright, it's going to be it right here. Alright. Yep. Looks like that's going to be a 1.5. Yep. 1.5. We're going to start it on one of the eyes. See how far we can run it in. Not really. Running about halfway. Then we're going to tighten the other side up on there. Once we tighten it up, we want to make sure that the eyes are aligned because we are literally going from connection to connection right here. So the tool that we use to put this on, I'm not sure where to put it. Probably under the car. Yep. I'm not sure if that pin will actually go into this one. We'll see. Oh, well, cool. Sweet. Alright. That goes on one end like that. And we're going to have a screw that needs to go through it. And
There.
that's showing it going under the servo horn, but we're going to go on top of the servo horn with ours. Because the servo horn is threaded. See if that screws long enough. No, take a washer off the back side of it. That shouldn't allow it to be long enough. Put it right side up here. Okay. Wish that screw's just a hair longer. Is that screw a hair longer? No. Alright, we're gonna send it and see how it works out. How about that? One on my old car. You know what? I'm gonna take the screw off my old car. See how that works out. If I can get it out of there, it may be seized into place by now. Nope, we'll be able to get it. Sweet. Because the old car is basically the same assembly. And I went through a lot of trouble to get the right size screw in there. A screw that goes all the way through the servo horn without poking out the other side, because my tolerance right there is really tight, considering it's right down close to the head of the servo. Because of my assembly here, I'm going to tighten it all the way up in this ball. Just like so. Take a wrench and I'm going to snug this thing up like it's a nut. Like so. Alright, get it back. There we go. Alright, once I do it like that, we got a screw going through the ball. It's threaded inside, and the screw sticking out the back side. Threads are clean. Put some Loctite on there. Whoa, dribble, dribble. So I put a little extra Loctite on this one. Made it run all the way up to the bottom, because when I put this in, I don't want it to come back apart. So tighten that down on there. And once we get that down on there, put the top of my servo horn. I'm going to crank that down on there pretty good without stripping out the screw. Now we're going to take our ball on the other side. It'd be kind of hard to get our tool in there to knock that one in. So I'm just going to take a pair of channel locks, adjust it to size, and then just pop the steering ball on. Just like so. So now the servo is operating the arms. Sweet. Alright, what do we have next? Motor mounting. It says the motor's not included. This is a kit. If you buy one of these and it came with a motor, let me know. Because we're going to probably use the real stuff to put in that car. Alright, so now we've got our Hobby Wing XE Run combo. This is the sticker was on the outside. XR8 Pro. 1900 kV, 4268 can motor. So we'll open the motor first. Hobby Wing in their packaging says, just stare at the outside of the box. We don't want you inside the box. Alright. Slide open. Alright, there's our motor, guys. That's what it looks like coming out the box. Get this bad boy out of here. Act of Congress, apparently. Take the rest of the box out, look inside, and we do have a sensor wire that comes with that motor. So put that aside. So they don't give you any bells and whistles with the motor. That's all they give you. They give you the motor, sensor wire, and a manual. So we've got our motor mount bracket that shows on the instruction sheet right there. And I'm going to try to, because of the positioning of my ESC and doing soldering while it's mounted in the car, I'm going to try to get my leads from a motor facing as straight up as possible. And then we got our motor slide here. I'll line up some holes, figure out which screw we want to mount with. That's in there like that. It's going to be pretty close. So let's see if the larger screw... No, that's going to be the mounting screw for that. And 412. Well, that's saying that's what that is. Well, what screws do we use to mount the motor mount down? Oh, okay. M412 button heads. So let's put the barrel heads in there. And these are going to be a 3mm probably. Yes, they are. And we're going to put them in the appropriate holes after I put thread lock on them. I forgot to remind me. I'm counting on you guys to remind me to put thread locker on these screws. Right, put it in there. Don't tighten it up yet. Let's make sure we get the other side in place before we tighten it up, or we'll never get that screw hole to line up. A little dab of the good stuff there. See? Missed a hole. Try again. I got it that time. Yep. Alright. Now that we got both of our screws in place, we can go ahead and we can tighten these things up. Nice and tight. Alright. So, again, they're getting ahead of themselves. So they're showing us putting the spur gear on this thing now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the one off my other motor. We're going to slide it on, but we're not going to tighten it up quite yet because we need to get our alignment between our spur and pinion correct. Before we tighten everything up. We'll find the rub spur on this thing. There somewhere. Got all the light in the room on this video, and that's not where I'm taking stuff off the other car. There it is. Alright, and my pinion that I'm taking off the other car is newer, so it's not worn out yet. Still got plenty of life in it. Not have to worry about it coming apart on me. It's my 16 tooth pinion. Said the new car came with a 15. I prefer a 16 on mine on a 1900 motor. If I was running a 2100, I'd use a 15. So we got a slot right here in the side of the case. That's for our nut driver to go in and be able to tighten up our grub screw. So I'm just going to put it on there, just barely snug it into place. I don't want to crank on it, but I want it on there just enough to where it don't slide off. So now we're going to take our motor and we're going to set it on the motor guide and slide it down into place, and I'm going to look at the alignment on my gears, which I've done this a couple times, so my gears are lined up near perfect. So since I know that's good, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to tighten that grub up. If you're putting a new one in, make sure you put plenty of Loctite on that grub. You want to make sure that it's not going to come loose from the motor shaft. Alright, now slide that back together. Everything meshes beautifully. So I've got these two M4 screws right here. They're going to be for the motor mount on the next page. Yep. One thread locker on these. So thread lock on that one. Get that one started. Some thread locker on this one. Get this one started. Alright. Now before we tighten this up, we need to set our gear mesh. I'm hoping that most of you guys know how to do gear mesh already. If If not, I'm going to walk you through it right quick. Give me a little piece of paper here. Okay, so what you're going to need is just a piece of paper. This is just a sticky Post-it. So here's how I set my gear mesh. Slide it over so you guys can see it on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to roll it in between the two gears. I'm going to get it meshed in there all the way through, like so, right? So I'm going to put force on the motor. I want the motor to slide over. I want that piece of paper to be meshed in between the gears really tight. And then I'm going to tighten up my motor slide screws. So something I've learned is you tighten up the top one on this first before you tighten up the bottom one, because the way it torques together, it will actually help with your gear alignment. I've had it to where I've tightened the bottom one up first and then tightened the top one up, and I ended up fighting with the gear mesh. Alright, so now that's in there, we can roll this piece of paper out of here. And we should have just a little, I don't know if you can hear it, tick, tick, tick. That's our gear mesh. Beautiful. I feel like there's a tight spot in that. Got something. Loosen up some. I think that's just the teeth on that spur are broken in a little bit, and I think it's just got a abnormal wear section. That's what it looks like anyhow. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to loosen my gear mesh up a little bit because I do have a little bit of abnormal wear here. It does happen. So let's make a little bit more. So, just a sliver. Alright, nice and free. Nice little tick tick. Then I'll usually inspect the gear mesh, make sure that it's not, my plunge isn't too much and that it's not too shallow. Looks good. I'm going to roll it around to different sections on the gear, and I'm just going to tick it back and forth. Make sure the gear mesh all the way around is good. Good. Nice and beautiful. I think that when I did it with the paper, I may have just pressed too hard on the paper and it chewed through it, but that's okay. Alright, so now we've got our motor mounted. It's in place. My motor leads are in an easy, accessible position for soldering. Got our servo mounted. Got our gear mesh set, our gear in place. What's the next page? Not included. Showing the ESC mounted. Alright, what I'm going to do is we're an hour and 15 minutes into this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it. And the last video we're going to put the electronics in and we're going to start doing the setup on the car. How about that? So this is all the bolt-on stuff is completed. So next is going to be doing the sticking of stuff to the chassis. Making sure that we get our insulation in places, like we're going to have a piece of rubber down under the battery, stuff like that. And then we're going to solder in an ESC. I'm going to show you how to solder. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. I'm going to go take me a break, and then we will finish this and go to the next video. So I'll see y'all in video 7.